Hi everyone, I'm your host Crystal, and this is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown. And I have the Crow Wings in the studio with me this afternoon. I have Kat Jackson, yes, and Aaron Tank. Now, Aaron Tank's been playing solo shows quite a bit. I had you on, maybe a year or two ago now.
Probably at least a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, just as Aaron Tank. But now you've joined, you've got a couple bands going on. You've got the Stardust Collective, and that's with Eric Bong and a few others. And now you've joined the Crow Wings.
Which is the coolest name in the world, by the way. Eric Bong. Yeah.
Oh, Eric Bong, yeah. We got Bong, Tank, Cat, all kinds of cool names involved with the musical projects.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Bong is related to the Bong Bridge here in Duluth, right? I mean, his great granddad put that thing together or something like that.
Well, I think it's named after his great uncle or some relative who was a actual pilot in World War II or something like that.
Oh,
History going on there.
Yeah, there you go. I was not aware of that. Very cool. All right, and now I know. Now I feel like I should call Eric on the phone and be like, hey, we're talking about you.
You and that bridge.
You and that bridge, dang it.
You've got the coolest name in town.
Yes, definitely. A very recognizable name for sure. And now, Aaron, I know I've spoke to you in the past about how you got started in music. It was kind of jazzy, acoustic before. You're still rocking that. I know you've just played Dublin's a couple nights. Do you have residency there?
Oh, that's just I'm kind of in the rotation, I think, as someone that they email every now and then to book a show, or I'll go back every few months over there.
Mm-hmm.
On
Okay.
Thursdays. Yeah, they're doing music on Thursdays over there.
All right, excellent. And now, Kat, since you've never been on my show before, and I'm actually sitting across from what I deem as a rock star, you
Where? A rock star? Where?
I know, a rock star.
Bonafide rock star I get to play with here, I think.
Yes.
It's just the glasses, because my eyes are bloodshot. I'm trying to hide them, that's all.
Well, at least you're honest.
He's living a life. No.
My hair is greasy, my eyes are bloodshot. For all you people out there, just to give you a visual.
Yeah. What did you do last night? No kidding.
Last night's bleeding into today. It's still last night for me.
Oh, there you go. Pulled an all-nighter then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now, Kat, how did you get started on this musical endeavor? I was reading a little bit about you and also talking to Aaron a little bit too. You've been kind of in that rock and roll alternative scene since the 80s, actually. And it's just kind of progressed throughout the years. But what really got you started? What got you hooked?
Well, the Crow Wings started with myself and Jessica. We both write songs and sing our own songs. And we were in a previous band together. And, during our band breaks, we would sort of huddle together, and I would say, hey, I've got this new song I'm working on, and can I hear, she plays keyboard, and I was like, can I hear some keyboard parts along with these guitar parts? And, we did this maybe one too many times, and we got in trouble by the band leader. And I guess I broke up the band. I didn't mean to, but we got in trouble. And then, about a month or two later, I just called her out of the blue and said, hey, what are you up to? I have these riffs that I still want to jam on. So I went over to her house. This is back in Brainerd, Crow Wing County. That's why we named the band the Crow Wings. And anyway, so I just went over there, and I was like hanging out with her. She's like a really good friend of mine as well. And so we're jamming on these tunes, and we have a really this incredible magic that happens when her and I play songs, And she's like, well, I've got a couple of things I'm working on too. And I'm like, oh, well, what are they? Show me. And she played me these bits and pieces of songs, and I was like, wow, that's really incredible stuff, And so we just start accumulating these tunes, and before you know it, we had an album's worth of songs. And I was like, let's just call it a band. Let's get some other members. And record an album, and that's what we did, But for the first year and a half, it was just us. We couldn't find any other band members to play with us. It was just we'd try to get a bass player, we'd try to get a drummer, and it was just really hard for us. And so we wound up doing all these coffee shop gigs, just acoustic and piano, and we'd run through all of our songs, and it just sort of grew into a full-fledged band to what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how the Crow Wings started initially. It's just Jessica and I, kicking some songs around, and there's a certain magic that happens when we play together. So we got lucky. So,
yeah. So it sounds like you two were involved in a band before you started the Crow Wings.
Yeah.
Now, how did that kind of culminate?
Okay, so I moved to Brainerd. I'm from Minneapolis. I'm a Minneapolis boy, born and raised inner city, Lake Street and Cedar Avenue. And I met somebody who, I met my girlfriend, and she's from Brainerd.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I'd never really considered Brainerd other than maybe playing some gigs there. There used to be a club there that one of my previous bands played. But and so I didn't really, I'm the type that I'm a city boy. I don't really venture out to the country that often, but there I was in the small town, Brainerd, and so I had nothing to do, and we went out to dinner one time, and we saw this little advertisement for this band was having a CD release party, and I was like, well, that's weird, this is not really a original music sort of town. It's one of those smaller towns that you'll find a lot of cover bands, but not a lot of original artists happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, we got to see this. And so we went and saw this band, and they were called the Vertigogos. And they had their little CD release party, and they had the strangest music and the strangest show I'd ever seen. And I thought, wow, this is really neat. I have to get into this band. So, I just sort of finagled my way in, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of I don't know, it was a cross between the B-52s meets, I don't know, it's kind of like a industrial gothic, with a tinge of disco to it. It's really bizarre, unique sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so, we played a couple shows, but like I said, during our rehearsals, we'd take these breaks, and Jessica and I would start playing these songs, and, that kind of got us in trouble. And, I had her do a solo gig with me in Minneapolis one time, and that really didn't go well with the band leader. And so that was he put the kibosh on that whole thing, and so it was from that situation in Brainerd that the Crow Wings started, and we tossed around a couple different cheesy names. We really didn't know what to call it, and then I just thought, well, we live in Crow Wing County. What about the Crow Wings? That's kind of cool, and we did our little search and see to see if anyone had the name, and nobody did, so we grabbed it.
All right. Excellent, Kat. And so do you currently reside in Brainerd?
No.
Okay.
After about 4.5 years, I just couldn't take any more of the country living, so I couldn't convince my girlfriend to move to Minneapolis. So, we decided, well, how about Duluth? It's still in the country, it's kind of city-like, and, it was kind of a compromise. And so we bought a property here, and so, yeah, part of the band lives back in Brainerd, and part of the band lives here in Duluth. And we get together for rehearsals and for shows and stuff like that.
All right, wonderful. And now you guys just played the Maine. Have been playing gigs over here in Superior quite a bit. How does that feel kind of for you? Is it good? Has it been really decent? The crowds? What's been going on with that? As I'm looking right at Aaron, and Aaron's staring at me.
The main club gig was my first gig with the Crow Wings. So,
okay.
Kat can probably speak on other experiences as far as the history of the band and everything, but I thought that I had a lot of fun. In fact, I told Kat after the gig that it's the most fun I've had playing music in quite some time. not that I don't have fun playing solo or with other projects I'm involved with, but I think the energy of this band is kind of just eclectic and a lot of creative energy in this band, and that translates into the performance as well. Not only the fact that there are 3 songwriters in the band, but just the creative energy on stage. And Kat has a lot of charisma. Jessica, who he mentioned earlier, plays keyboards and does a lot of the songwriting as well. A lot of charisma. And then Izzy, who plays all kinds of things: violin, saxophone,
Flute.
What does she have? Flute, harmonica. So that really adds a lot to the mix. And so for me, it's just kind of a fun band to play with. And I thought we were received very well at the main club, and had people kind of engaging and listening to the band and applauding, and really, I think it's a fun band is the simplest way I can put it. And so I'm really having a good time with it. And
All right, wonderful. And now
It's eclectic. We're an eclectic band.
Okay.
And we seem to draw weird people like ourselves, strange folks. We draw the freaks like ourselves, and the strangest people love our band, and and we're the strangest out of all of them. And when we chose to play the main club, I walked into there and I was like, wow, this is a strange place. It's like not one of the usual rock venues that you would find bands playing, and they got a great stage, and it's got a really unique vibe, and we had a really great show. Like everyone just got into the music, and like I said, we seemed to pull all the weirdos out of the woodwork, and we, it's like we're their band, and we can relate to them. They can relate to us, They're like, wow, a group of people stranger than myself. I like these guys, so and that's okay with me. We're one big, strange family, and we're here for them, and they're there for us. It works out great.
Okay. And now, Kat, listening to you kind of say this, it definitely reminds me of MCR or Green Day or, even AFI, as I pull from the larger kind of punk community. Now, and even just kind of looking at your presence, too, I'm like, yeah, that's a punk rock star right there. Is that really what you wanted to aim for? I mean, you said earlier that you had done, like, coffee shop acoustic sets and things like that.
Well, I think we're not really aiming for anything, and that's what you want to do. You don't want to sort of pre-think this stuff,
Okay.
because then it's like fake. The best thing for us and for me as artists is not to think about this stuff and just let it happen, because once you start thinking about it, then it's like then it's fake, and then there's nothing fake about this band or what we're trying to do. It's all comes from the heart. And the minute you start thinking about it and trying to, create something, then you lose the artistry of it. You just have to let it happen. And so, when you go to our shows, one day we'll be full of stage makeup. The next show you'll see us and we're doing an acoustic thing. It's kind of all over the place, but it's very honest and real. It's like... it's very artistic, it's not very commercial at all, and that's what I like about it. It's very artistic. I mean, you've got this kind of sort of a punk-ish vibe happening, but then you got a lot of things happening. If you listen to the album, you'll hear all kinds of influences, and it's all over the place. That's why when we met Aaron, we got together, and I was like, well, let me hear some of your songs. And he started playing these songs, and I was just blown away at his original material. I was like, wow, I mean, you are such a great songwriter. And so with the Crow Wings, you've got 3 strong songwriters, and you've got 3 lead singers that sing their own material. And so there's no shortage of material. We have we have 2 albums worth or maybe more in queue, ready to go, So, I mean, there's just like a wealth of material ready to come out, and yeah, it's pretty cool. We should play a track.
I think so too. But right before we get to that, Aaron, how did you two meet? I know how you met, but
Well, Kat and I answered a Craigslist ad actually, and
Weirdo wanted.
sometimes I'll
seriously?
peruse Craigslist, and I try not to get stretched too thin as far as musical projects. I do have the Stardust Collective and a couple other acoustic projects, but it's always interesting to mix things up and get involved with different projects. One of the things that caught my eye in the ad was something about GLBT friendly, which even though it's not something I necessarily seek out or am on the forefront of the movement, I think that it told me that the person who placed this ad is open-minded and not a bigot. Not that you get that in the music world anyway, but I think part of what we're doing, the music's the main focus, I think, but there's also the idea of just creating an atmosphere where people can express themselves and feel safe to dress however they want, be who they are, that whole thing. So that's kind of something that I noticed, and in meeting Kat and having further discussions about all that kind of stuff, we both seem to be on the same page when it comes to just open-mindedness. And I brought up the old pagan adage of, and it do no harm, do what you will, which basically means if you're not hurting anybody, do whatever you want and express yourself however you want. So that's kind of, I think, one of the mantras of the band in a way. And so that I respect Kat for putting that energy out there, and the rest of the band members, because in our society, in this current political climate, I think it takes a certain amount of courage for people to put themselves out there, and not everybody feels safe to express themselves how they would like, and so I think that that's an important issue to kind of just keep in mind as well. So that's kind of something that we've talked about a little bit, aside from just the fun of making music and everything. So yeah, we met because of the old Craigslist ad thing. Kind of became friends real quick, I think, because we do have a lot in common with the way we think and see things. And
When he first came to my house, we hadn't talked on the phone. We just, emailed back and forth, talking about the band and everything. And he thought that he was talking to a woman. So when he walked up to the house, he looked at me like so strangely. I'm like, I reached out my hand to shake his hand, and he just looked at me like the strangest look. And
well,
surprise.
I can preface that by saying I normally have a strange look on my face no matter what the situation is. But
Well, you're strange looking.
right. So I probably look perplexed 90% of the time, no matter what's happening. But I was assuming kind of that I was going to be meeting a woman, possibly because Kat is usually a female pseudonym, and I worked with a female in Bemidji named Kat for short, and that band was called Kat and the Cosmic Stuntmen. So I just kind of, not that it really mattered either way, but yeah, I was expecting a new age female or something, and
Close, but no cigar.
Nikki Sixx walks out of the house, basically. Which is cool. Which is,
Nikki Sixx saunters out of the house.
So I'm like, hey. So anyway, yeah. So caught a little off guard, perhaps, but just a reminder to go into situations without any preconceived notions.
Right.
Another reminder.
And, Aaron, when you reached out to me to do this interview, you said, me and my friend Kat, and I've worked with cats in the past, and all of them are women. And then finally you, after talking back and forth, you all of a sudden said he, and I was like, oh, okay. And then my next thought was that's really cool. Now I wonder what that's short for, because I still haven't figured it out. But
well, he's got a story about that too. I think it's
we can get to that in the next few seconds here. But let's take a listen to the CD. Now I've got the Crow Wings. Let's take a listen to track 1. It Takes All Night.
If it takes all night.
If it takes all night. All right, wonderful. The Crow Wings are in the studio. This is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown, and I'm your host, Crystal. It sounds good. I'm Crystal. This is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown. I have the Crow Wings in studio with me. I was just talking to Kat about his wonderful rock and roll 90s hair, 80s hair. It's very razzy.
I don't know. It's I need a haircut. I'll tell you that much.
Do you need a haircut and a real job?
I need a real job. I need a haircut. I could use some lunch. But so I don't know. I need a lot of stuff.
Or not. I mean, you were just talking about losing the comb is the trick to your hairstyle. But
Absolutely.
Lose the hair. That was my secret.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lose the hair, then you don't need a comb.
Well, you're lucky.
Exactly.
And then I don't really need a day job either. I was kind of some part-time work maybe, but it's there's lots of mantras to life, but I like to balance the work and music and put work into the music, but the music's fun, so kind of comes around again in the end. But I lost the hair, he lost the comb.
And
All
I've
right.
never looked back.
All right. Excellent. I must just say, as I'm sitting across from you guys, I love the unique styles that you both have. You've got Kat over here that totally looks like a 90s rock star. Dare I compare you to the Goo Goo Dolls in a way?
The Goo Goo Dolls.
Is
I've
that
heard it all.
Yes,
I've heard it all.
Okay.
And you were Nikki Sixx in
Well, that's how I used to make
band.
money, back in the day when there was a thing called tribute bands. Instead of working, I would join these tribute bands all across the country, and that's how I paid the rent, is impersonating Nikki Sixx for a living. And,
Really?
I used to print T-shirts for a living, do that 8 hours a day, printing thousands of T-shirts. It's a common job for musicians, I found artists and musicians, but one day this guy was like, "Hey, you kind of look like that bass player in Motley Crue. I'll pay you more than what you're making printing T-shirts." And I'm like, "You can't be serious," because I really didn't play cover music or anything like that. I was always an original artist. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll tell me what you make per week," and I told him, and which wasn't very much, but. He's like, "Yeah, we have a full schedule, and I need a guy to impersonate the bass player in Motley Crue, and we're traveling all over the country." And I was like, "Well, that's weird, that's strange, but I guess it beats getting up 7 a.m. and printing T-shirts all day." And so that's how I made money for, for a lot of years, was touring in a little van and impersonating this Nikki Sixx guy. I mean, I'm not even a big Motley Crue fan, but there I was,
Yeah.
And that would bum the Motley Crue fans up, because we'd be doing these shows, and all these Motley Crue fans would come up to me going, "God, I love Motley Crue, and I love Nikki Sixx," and I'd be like, they're okay. They're not my favorite band, but they would I could see their bubble just burst, and I would be like, "Sorry, I mean they're cool and everything. I dig Soundgarden better, but but it was cool. It was a way to make a buck, an honest buck."
Right.
Some people will do anything for money.
So the tribute bands, is that kind of like a hairball, or?
Yeah, it was exactly like Hairball. All my buddies actually are in that band. We kind of, well, they're a little bit older, I must admit, but we're kind of from the same neighborhood.
Okay.
And so they took it to the extreme, as far as you can take something like that. But it was a really strange gig. It was I got a lot of touring experience and a lot of strange experiences on the road doing that kind of thing, but it was time consuming, and at some point I was like, I just sort of have to get off this ridiculous treadmill of impersonating somebody, even though the money was good, and all that kind of stuff. But at a certain point I was just like, I have to stop this and just concentrate on my own music, because that's where my heart is at. In art, I'm an artist. I do these oil paintings and stuff, and I do showings at galleries, and They hang in different coffee shops around Minneapolis, and so that's what I do as well in my spare time is oil paints, abstract kind of stuff, But yeah, these days I just do the original music, and so you got to follow your heart. Life's too short.
Very true. Very true. As I get older, I keep kind of relearning that and learning it from different people and things. And now I've kind of really come to realize life is too short. You can't live by what somebody else tells you. I know that sounds very millennial of me to say, but I think it's true to some degree.
You got to follow your heart,
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, otherwise you're just some sort of drone living a sad life, and you don't want to do that.
No. At least I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. Do you want to do
I
that?
don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. Aaron doesn't want to do that, so all right. Good. So right before the music break, Kat, we were talking about your name. And now Aaron said
God.
that you guys had emailed back and forth prior to meeting. Aaron thought that he was meeting a woman. When Aaron told me about you, I thought I was going to be talking to a woman as well. And no offense upon the name at all. It's just both of us have worked with Catherines in the past. So
Well,
how did Kat come
oh my
about?
God, it's such a horrible story, but I'll tell you. When I was very young, me and my garage band pals, we thought, wow, if you're gonna be a rock star, you gotta have a cool name, So we all went off on our little corners and sort of wrote down these names, and I had no idea what to use. I mean, this is a long time ago. This is when I was like 16 years old, and at the time, in my hometown, Minneapolis, Prince. Well, he's huge everywhere, but especially in Minneapolis, everybody's just Prince crazy, including myself. But at the time, he had a female dancer named Kat. And at the time, Michael Jackson was huge. And back then I didn't listen to pop music or Michael Jackson, but I thought, well, let's put these two names together. It sounds like a woman's first name with Jackson. That's I don't know. Let's just put these names together and see what happens. And that's how I came up with that stupid name. And I tried to abandon it many times, but it just keeps coming back. And I can't get rid of it. And here I am with a stupid name.
I think it's kind of cool.
And I introduce myself
for a guy or a girl. It doesn't matter.
as that, and I just feel so silly, but it's like it's here now, and yeah.
All right.
My mom hates it, and
Kat Jackson, everybody. See, it has a roll to it. It has a
It has
flow.
a kind of flair. Cat
Yeah.
Jackson.
Cat Jackson. Where Aaron Tank, it's
Aaron
like,
Tank,
da-da,
yeah.
in your face.
in your face.
Feel free to use that at future shows. But now, Kat, I'm curious. What is your legal name?
Gregory James. Isn't that exciting?
Very, very exciting. Gregory James. That's awesome. My dad's name is Greg. It's a good name.
Yeah, Greg Brady. He's cool, right?
Cat Jackson is sounding better and better all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cat Jackson.
Either way, I can't win,
So what is coming up next for the Crow Wings? Aaron, you joined the band not too long ago, it sounds like. Just to recap here, you guys have 3 really strong songwriters. Aaron, you do a lot of solo things as well. Kat, you've been in bands, it almost sounds like from the 90s, 80s? How far back do I want to take it here?
Well, I guess late 80s I started playing.
Okay.
And I'm still doing it. Still here.
All right.
I'm very fortunate to come from the town that I came from. We've had in Minnesota, you've got Bob Dylan, you've got Prince, you've got The Replacements, you've got Husker Du, and so I was
Semisonic.
and I was lucky to be surrounded by all this talent, and I don't know. Are you familiar with Husker Du?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a kind of an interesting story about Grant Hart. He had left Husker Du by this point, and he was working on some other projects. But we had rehearsed at the same building in Minneapolis, and back then there was just this community phone. This is like before cell phones really took off and everyone had one. You know, I mean, some people had them, some people didn't, but there was this community telephone where all the musicians would line up to use the phone, right? This big, you know, old-time phone. And him and I would always wind up waiting to use the phone. There's always somebody, you know, just like hogging the phone. They're on it for a long time, and I would always just sit and talk to this strange guy, and we'd just have these strange little conversations, and you know, we hit it off very well. We got to be sort of buds, you know, hanging out at waiting in line to use this telephone, this community telephone at the band rehearsal space. But it wasn't until like years later that I realized that that's Grant Hart from Husker Du. I had discovered Husker Du and became a big fan of theirs, and you know, now his songwriting is a big influence on me and my songs. But at the time, I had no idea who he was, and that's how I met him initially. And so I thought that was a kind of an interesting story. Their original, one of the guys that had worked with them initially, his name is Terry Katzman. He's out of Minneapolis. If you're a Husker Du fan or a Replacements fan, you'll know the name Terry Katzman. He started out managing them, and he had a little record company that helped them out at the beginning, and we are actually starting to work with him now, and he's probably going to be involved with the new album that we're going to start recording probably this fall, maybe November. We'll start working on the second album. And so yeah, I got lucky to come from Minneapolis with all the talent out there, and I love my hometown. You know, no matter where I go, I seem to miss home.
And the Crowings are playing at a record store in the cities on the 18th of August, right? And does Terry have a connection with that?
Well, that's Terry Katzman has a record store these days called Hi-Fi Records in Minneapolis. And so August 18th, we're doing 2 shows. At 5 o'clock, we're at Hi-Fi Records in Minneapolis. And then later that night at 9 p.m., we're at the Terminal Club in downtown Minneapolis. So yeah, if you're in Minneapolis, August 18th, come and see us. Come and hang out with us.
I will be.
Oh, yeah.
That's my August show.
Yes, we'll see you there then.
Yes. Now, is there a cover charge for the show? Is it a plus 21?
Well, for the Hi-Fi Records, that's all age, that's free, you know, 5 o'clock. And for the Terminal show later that night, I believe it's only $5. And there's going to be a couple bands. In fact, your other band's going to be with us.
I think Stardust Collective might be playing at that show as well. So it'll be a combined band night. At least 3 of us, for sure. But yeah, we have, so it'll be 2 bands at least for $5. So.
All right. Excellent.
Pretty good deal.
Hey, I think so. Well, I think $5 is fair. I even think $10 is fair. When you start getting into the $300, $400 for one act, then I start
Then you're the
questioning.
Eagles, right?
Yeah, then you're the Eagles. Definitely.
We're just the Crowings.
So. Yeah, we're not there yet. We're just the Crowings.
Just the Crowings. So, Aaron, will you be featured on this new album?
Well, we'll see how things play out. I've introduced at least one song that has not been recorded by anybody else yet to this band that maybe we'll record 1 or 2 of my songs on the upcoming album, but I try not to plan too far ahead or worry about like what's gonna, I think it's just a matter of, and they got a lot of material, so I think a good strategy is just look at all the material you got. And Kat and I have talked about this too, like, okay, there's the concept of putting together an album that kind of has a vibe or a kind of a coherent theme to it. And so the question would be, does my material match up with a potential concept or, you know, kind of an idea for an album?
Mhm.
Or do we just make an album that's kind of more eclectic and has different styles within the same album, you know?
Mhm.
So that, you know, there's a lot of questions to ask, and they have a lot of material to look at too. So I think it's a matter of just deciding what is going to determine and make the best album,
Mhm.
you know, no matter whose songs are on it or whatever. So
Mhm. Okay.
that's the way I see it. But yeah, hopefully we can work together and I can add something to that album in some form or another.
Mm-hmm. All right, excellent. And now for this current album that you guys have, did you go into a studio setting for that one? Did you do a home studio? How did that pan out?
Not at all. We went into a garage. It's garage rock.
Okay.
We recorded our first album in an actual garage. Now, when I say a garage, a lot of people are going to think, wow, somebody converted their garage like this into a nice little home studio. That is not the case. When we recorded our first album, it was an actual, garage with cobwebs and stuff in the corner, like baby strollers. And the guy who recorded our album, his name is Jordan Wren, and he's one of the best individuals. He's fantastic. He's super talented. Jordan Wren is based out of Brainerd, Minnesota, and he records out of his garage. And but the thing about his garage is that, the acoustics are incredible.
Okay.
So you record, different instruments or the drums, and you get these great tones. And he doesn't want to mess with that. So, he left it as is, just this old shed sort of thing. And that's where we recorded the album. And so it really is garage rock,
All right. Very cool. That is the first time I've heard of that in a long time. The only other garage rock that I know of anyway, and this is taking it way back, I'm going to totally show how old I am right now, was the Hanson brothers, and they put out a tape called 3 Car Garage, and they recorded it in their parents' garage.
Oh, that must have been a nice garage. You had to watch out for the spiders and the, and the cobwebs, and but that gave it a little certain ambiance to the recording process, and but the neighbors probably hated it, because the walls really didn't hold the sound, and we recorded the album pretty loud, pretty hot, and so I'm sure you had grandma on one side just holding their ears, and the parents on the other side trying to put their kid to sleep, and there we are just blasting out these tracks.
So ironically, most garage bands are trying to get out of the garage, initially or at some point. But this band, part of the goal is to get back to the garage.
Yes, and that's where we're gonna go, back to the garage for the second album.
Okay.
Because we had some real magic with this album. All 10 songs are just, I don't know. I guess I may be a little biased, but I just think this album is incredible. There's not a clunker in the bunch. They're all strong songs. You can find the album for free on YouTube if you want. Otherwise, you can go and buy a CD copy at, like Electric Fetus here around the Duluth area, or Cheapo Records in Minneapolis, and Hi-Fi Records as well. They stock it. Otherwise, you can get it for free. And you can get it on iTunes and all that stuff. But it's just an incredible album, and it's eclectic. It's all over the place, and that's what we were talking about. We have so many songs that we could create. Like for the next album, we can create a mood. How if you have certain albums, like if you're in a mood, you're in an energetic mood and you want to get some cleaning done or whatever, you put on a certain record that'll get you there. Or if it's raining and you're kind of feeling mellow, you put on something else. We were thinking about, well, we could do that. We could put a group of songs together for an album. For like an upbeat sort of thing, and then maybe the next album can be, more mellow things for a different mood. Because this first one is like, it's like all over the place. We have mellow songs, we have some fast ones, and we have a couple of really strange songs in there, which ironically, the strangest songs that we write are the songs that people seem to gravitate to. Like, I write these songs, and I think, oh, people are going to love this. And I'll take it to the band, and they're like, that's okay. And then I'll have this, some odd song that I think is just too strange to even show anybody, and they're like, wow, that is great. I love that. I'm like, oh, are you serious? So I'm the worst judge on like a good song that is going to appeal to people, because a song that I think everyone's going to love, they're like, oh, that's okay. And then the songs that I think are just too strange to even show people, they're like, oh, that's great, so.
Yeah. Can we listen to a strange song off this album?
Yeah, Sunshine for Two is very odd. That's like the oddest track on the album, and people seem to dig it.
All right, wonderful. The Crow Wings are in studio with me. We're going to listen to Sunshine for Two off of their latest studio album, and we'll be right back right after this. We were just talking. Kat bought his own poster from an early band that he was in from Hi-Fi Records?
Hi-Fi Records.
Hi-Fi Records.
If you go to Minneapolis, it's in the Loring area, and this is one of the coolest record stores I've ever been in. They sort of cater to Minnesota music, and so, I mean, you go there, and they got pictures of, like Soul Asylum on the wall, the Replacements, Husker Du, Curtis A., and it's like the history of Minnesota music, and that's what they sort of focus on. Again, it's ran by Terry Katzman, and he's connected to the Replacements and Husker Du, and he just released this box set of Husker Du. By the way, it's really incredible. He was showing it to me the last time I was at the store.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Hi-Fi Records is the place to go and check out if you're into vinyl. And well, they sell everything, CDs and vinyl, but even cassettes. If you
Oh, hey, all right, there we go.
Tank and I listen to cassettes.
I got a cassette player in my '98 Honda Civic, if you can believe that.
Mm-hmm.
'98 was a CD era, but it's a happy accident because I've been able to resurrect my cassette collection. So I listen to cassette tapes in my car.
Nice.
We just recorded ourselves rehearsing, him and I, on cassette. I was like, hey, will this work? So I plugged some microphones into my cassette deck, and we recorded ourselves rehearsing. I was like, wow, this is weird, man. I acquired this collection of cassettes from my neighbor down the road. I just happened to be walking down the alley, and he was getting rid of all these cassettes and 45s, and I was like, you're just tossing this? And he's like, yeah, you can go ahead and take it. So I got hundreds of cassettes, everything from Frank Sinatra to whatever, all kinds of stuff. And there was a few like blank Maxells from the 80s or something.
Which
and
is the best score, because then we can make mixtapes.
Right,
There
I
you
made him
go.
a mixtape too.
I remember.
Mixtape.
I remember making mixtapes only for a short while, and then I made mix CDs.
Right.
Mix CDs doesn't sound as good as mixtapes.
Mixtape.
I
Yeah,
figured he's
mixtape.
got a cassette deck in his jalopy, and I'll make him you can hear him coming from miles away, and he cranks the cassette so he doesn't hear his car.
Yeah,
Oh.
right.
There you go.
We'll get to that point.
And now you guys will actually be down in Minneapolis this August. You'll be playing the record store around 5 p.m. August 18th.
Yeah,
And then you'll be down in downtown Minneapolis. Did you say?
Yeah, at a
Playing
place called the
club.
Terminal Bar, which has been there for a little over 100 years,
All right.
literally.
Mm-hmm.
And but before that, if anyone goes to Brainerd, we are doing a show July 21st. Is that right? July 21st at the Chameleon Cafe at 6 p.m. And we usually play for an hour, maybe two, depending on our moods, I guess. And so, yeah, if you're in Brainerd on July 21st at 6 p.m. at the Chameleon Cafe, we'll be there too. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, wonderful. So, Kat and Aaron, what is up next for you guys? Aaron, you're coming on to the Crow Wings, but you also still have Stardust Collective going on. You've got your own solo stuff. What's kind of on the gamut, or are you just going with the flow?
Well, a little bit of both. I stay pretty busy with different projects, so I'm even play in Bemidji sometimes. In fact, I think I may have something. When I joined these guys, I had like a schedule already booked.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the Chameleon show in Brainerd may be a 50-50 at this point, because I do have another booking in the Thirsty Pagan and Superior. So I'm doing my pub things or local acoustic stuff, but yeah, I'm just kind of, and sometimes I like to, as much as I like to perform and do all that, and it's part of my income and everything as a musician, but I also do some part-time work on the side, and I don't really necessarily try to play every weekend or all the time.
Okay.
So I think right now the only thing I'm booked in is August is with the Crow Wings.
Mm-hmm.
And then September I got some things up the North Shore I'm doing with acoustic stuff and some stuff in Bemidji again too with another band over there. But so for me that kind of mixes it up and keeps it interesting and
Mm-hmm.
kind of a quality over quantity thing sometimes.
Okay.
So
All right.
randomly here and there.
So for the Crow Wings, we plan to go into the studio this fall and record our second album. And we want to keep it to 10 songs every time we do an album, because at some point we're going to get all this stuff pressed to vinyl. But we're an independent band, so to press vinyl costs more than we can afford. So we we had to print it on CD for now, and sell it on iTunes and all that kind of stuff. But at some point we're gonna have our first album and this next album that we're doing this fall pressed on vinyl because we're vinyl fans. All of us in the band pretty much collect vinyl and like to listen to music that way. But yeah, the second album is in the works, and all the songs are there, and we want to give something for our fans. We have a little group of fans that follow us around, and we got kind of lucky, to have them. And like I say, we're a band for the outsiders of the world and the freaks of the world, because that's what we are, and we're their band, and they love us and we love them, and so we got lucky to have a fan base and connect with people, and so the second album is it's going to be very special for them. And I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Excellent, excellent. And now, Kat, if I may ask, if you want to divulge into this, why do you say that about the band, that the band is for the weirdos and kind of the misfits?
Because that's what I am.
Okay.
I'm an outsider. I've always been an outsider. And, growing up, that was kind of I don't know. I mean, it's like hard when you are an outsider. You're not one of the popular kids, and you're just, I don't know the best way to say it, but other than I was just the weirdo, and but I learned to embrace that at some point, and that's what this band seems to attract, just the outsiders. The people that just have a hard time fitting into normal society, the fringe. That's what seems to be attracted to our music and to us. I think because we wear it on our sleeve, we don't try to hide that, we're outsiders and we're just a strange group of individuals. And that's who we seem to attract, but that's okay by me,
But we're normal friendly. The band is normal friendly.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is invited to the party, but that's just what we seem to attract. We attract a bearded lady, and we attract every other kind of just strange and wonderful individual, and we're the strangest people you could ever meet. Very much outsiders, and but there's one message, and that's the message that I want to deliver, and that runs through everything, is love and acceptance. That's the one underlying message that goes through our music, and our attitudes is, acceptance and love. My message is love. That's what I'm bringing, and that's what I stand for, and that's what I'm preaching to the choir.
Do you guys find, and now this is getting into almost maybe a little political, maybe a little spiritual, do you find that kind of climate is changing, that more generations are gravitating towards the kind of love and respect chakra, if you will? Or is that something that you guys have put out there, so you're attracting that back?
I don't know. All I know is for me, I'm staying true to myself, and I can't speak for Jessica, but knowing her, she is the same type of person, very accepting of everybody, and this band is accepting of everybody, everything, and and it's something that we believe in, and that's why I keep bringing up the point that we're a very strange and odd group of people, and that's what we attract, is strange outsiders, like I said, everyone is invited to the party, but what we seem to attract are just the people that don't quite fit into normal society, and that's like us, So we're here for you, absolutely.
All right. Wise words, sir. Wise words. And now, we were talking at the beginning of the interview. You do have a new track that's recorded. It's up on YouTube for now.
Yeah.
Is it on iTunes or anything like that?
No, this will be on the upcoming album, but
Okay.
it's we sort of snuck it out there for now and threw it up on YouTube just because so many people seem to like the song. We gave them a little sneak preview of something from our second album coming this fall, and it's a song again I brought to the band thinking, well, nobody's gonna really dig this. It's kind of so different and odd, but just like Sunshine for Two, people seem to like those type of songs when I write just the outside of the box sort of song, and everyone seems to like this one, so I thought maybe we could play it.
Of course, of course. So the Crow Wings, this song is I've Got a Garden. It's up on YouTube if you'd like to get a sneak peek into what their second album will bring. Thank you guys so much for stopping
Thank
in this
you.
afternoon and taking the time out of your busy schedules to talk with me and talk with the wider people of the Northland and beyond, of course. Aaron, thank you so much. Good luck with your solo efforts this summer and with the Crow Wings and Stardust Collective. If you want to catch Aaron Tank in any of those things, feel free. And then Kat, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck with the Crow Wings and all of your endeavors.
All
Thank you,
right.
Crystal.